So, one of my subscribers got into this little back and forth with me, and they were talking about the difference between driving a semi truck in trucking and driving the dually in trucking. Basically, criticizing people out there that are running non CDL versus people that are running CDLs driving semis. I mean, if you're driving miles, you're driving miles. If you're a commercial driver, whether it's in a box truck or it's in a dually, a Ford dually, a Dodge dually, a Chevy dually, whatever it might be, it's still trucking, however you want to say it. That being said, he was basically saying that most dually-based systems, truckers, are violating the law because of sleeper berth. Well, they're really not. The FMCSA has some rules regarding sleeper berth. They haven't changed since like in the late 80s. And so they've been around, and it's the width, in other words, from door to door or from side to side, on if you had a semi, is 75 inches. So 3 inches over 6 feet. I kind of think that the reason they did that was because most pickup trucks between door panel to door panel it's barely 72 inches. So they try to get you with the extra 3 inches they have on there. And most semi trucks have bigger than 75 inches, but some of the older trucks didn't. And back in the 70s and 80s, those trucks barely had 75-inch sleeper berths on them, so that's where that rule came from, and they really haven't updated it. So if you get a hold of just the right state trooper or DOT guy or whoever, and they pull you over and they get on to you about their sleeper berth size, could they say something, get out a tape measure and do it? Yeah, they could do that. But it's 3 inches, right? Now, you could, if you took the door panels off of your back doors, you'd be compliant because it's basically 75 inches. Now, for width-wise, has to be 24 inches. So the sleeping area has to be 24 inches in the back, which most back seats today are right about that. They're 22, 23 inches, almost 24. But let me tell you what I recommend and what I did in my truck. I got this kind of long but narrow cooler, and I used it. I put ice in it and drinks or whatever my food I wanted to have in there, and I put it right between the front seats and the back seats. Now on the F350s, there's plenty of room to do that. On the Dodges, you can do that. On the Chevys too, there's enough room in there to do that. If you get a Dodge Mega Cab, you can put a king size bed in there. I think it's massive. But by having that cooler in there, I actually had the extra width, and they also require you to have blankets and a pillow. So if you put blankets and a pillow back there, spread the what I did was usually a sleeping bag, and I would just lay it across the top of the cooler and onto the seat, throw a couple pillows back there, and I was meeting the criteria because from the surface of what they call the mattress, which by definition, their definition of a mattress, that only requires it to be foam, and if you know anything about seats today, they're all made with foam. So don't let somebody tell you that a back seat is not a mattress. It is a mattress. It's made out of the same exact material. Again, now if you get some state trooper out there and he's wanting to get on you, you've been talking crap to him since he asked you for your information, sure, you can wind up with some problems. But the reality is that the height from the top of the mattress surface to the ceiling height has only got to be 36 inches, 3 feet. You'll easily do that. And again, that's because of some of the trucks that came out of the 70s and 80s with kind of the minimal size sleepers. That's where they were at. And if that kind of shows you who has control over the trucking industry, the big trucking companies, the ones that have all the trucks, are the ones with this. But nevertheless, so next time you hear somebody talking about a dually and they talk about the back seat can't be used. Oh, and the other rule is it has to be accessible from the front seats. Obviously it is. You can crawl right through, and some guys they'll have like the bucket seat set up and they'll take that center console out so then they can just walk between there, which is not a bad idea. Some people actually take the passenger seat out. Now, somebody was telling me one time they thought the reason that you see guys with the passenger seat out was to have the additional cubic inches of room. It doesn't say that. The FMCSA rule is length, width, and height. And just about every dually out there is going to fit that. As long as they're a four-door cab, they're going to fit within that. Again, the width with being 75 inches versus the 72 that most of them are door panel to door panel, if you have somebody that says something, I know a guy that actually what he did was it's only the arm. The handle, the arm handle. That guy took them off and just covered it with some, like, I don't know, cardboard or something he covered them up with. He still retained the door handle because the door handle was recessed back, so he could still have the door handle. And so it still made it. It was within the 75 inches. In fact, it was over the 75. I think like 78 inches if you do that on each side. So he was well within that. So anyway, again, the rule on it is 75 by 24 by 3 feet from the top of the mattress, and your seat is made of foam. In fact, like on most of these trucks, the seat itself is almost purely foam. There's a base underneath there, usually typically metal, and then right on top of that's a layer of foam, like a bed would be, like a bunk bed, or even a bunk. In most of these trucks, all it is a piece of wood or metal, but mostly it's wood with a foam, with like 6 inches of foam. Your back seat has 4 to 6 inches of foam, and there's no rule on that, by the way. So if anybody tells you there is, they're lying. There is no rule on how thick the foam has to be. Anyway, just thought I'd let you know. Thank you for watching.